started. This is a special emergency meeting of the Board of Commissioners for Thursday, July 2nd. This meeting is being recorded, so need everybody to act with decorum and understand that the meeting is being recorded for public purposes. And we will begin today's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Commissioner Brown.
Pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
all.
Thank you. Okay, we have but one item this evening. And if the clerk would please, it's under the Board of Commissioners. If the clerk would please read the resolution. And Dean, would you please read the entire resolution for us today?
Yes, Commissioner. Resolution number 446-20. Resolution to uphold Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, recommendations regarding face coverings under the Board of Commissioners. Whereas the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends that people wear cloth face coverings in public settings when around people outside their household, especially when other social distancing measures are difficult to maintain. And whereas cloth face coverings may help prevent people who have COVID-19 from spreading the virus to others. And whereas cloth face coverings are most likely to reduce the spread of COVID-19 when they are widely used by people in public settings. And whereas cloth face coverings should not be worn by children under the age of 2 or anyone who has trouble breathing, is unconscious, incapacitated, or otherwise unable to remove the mask without assistance. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Franklin County, Ohio, that the Franklin County Board of Commissioners supports its cities, townships, and villages to pass local ordinances and emergency declarations as allowable by law, to require residents and visitors in those communities to wear face coverings while indoor settings, such as, but not limited to, retail stores, restaurants, and other workplaces. 2, that the Franklin County Board of Commissioners encourages and supports the state in taking similar actions to encourage and mandate, where appropriate, the wearing of face coverings to prevent the spread of COVID-19. 3, that wearing a face covering to prevent the spread of COVID-19 has positive implications to the state's economic recovery and in being able to keep businesses open. 4, that the Franklin County public health staff are available to work with municipal staff and elected officials to provide any assistance and support as would be helpful in the drafting and implementation of such actions. 5, that this resolution shall be in full force until the public health emergency declaration of the Board of Health has been rescinded. And 6, that the clerk to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners is directed to forward a copy of this resolution to the cities, townships, and villages within Franklin County.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Well, given what we're faced with right now with the increasing numbers of people with COVID, I move for passage of this resolution.
And I'd second that resolution, only adding the statement that, based on both the governor's presentation today, as well as the numbers that have been stated about our uptick in the condition of Central Ohio and Franklin County with regards to the spread, I think it's important that we do everything we can in our power to encourage and push for the use of as much PPE as possible and as much safety measures as possible. So I second the motion.
I have spent my day on the phone with municipal leaders all over Franklin County. and I've been very encouraged by my conversations. Obviously, Bexley and the city of Columbus have both already taken action, but I'm very encouraged by the likelihood of action in municipalities throughout Central Ohio. It is early. They still have conversations that need to happen, actions that need to take place in all of these communities. But I have been very, very encouraged by the words of mayors and city managers and city council members throughout Central Ohio. So my message to each of them was that we were going to take action tonight with this resolution, that we were going to be working closely with Commissioner Joe Mazzola, and that we were going to do all we could to support each of these communities. And as you know, we've heard from, there's Commissioner Mazzola there. I'd certainly like to hear from Joe tonight. But that you know, as we've heard from Administrator Wilson, that we certainly at this time, you know, the last thing we want is anybody worried about, you know, the number of masks or access to masks, and that Franklin County can be a resource for folks in the event that they need masks. We have access to masks. We have masks, and we have access to masks. So so we've had good conversation with a lot of them. Before I know that we've moved and seconded. Before we vote, if I know Commissioner Mazzola is on the line with us, he just had a meeting at 4 o'clock this afternoon with that he was involved in with folks from across the county. Joe, do you want to weigh in?
Well, good evening, Commissioner O'Grady, Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Boyce. Good to be with you this evening. Administrator Wilson and others, I really appreciate the opportunity to join you. I know usually we talk in the mornings, but it's good to be with you again here this evening. I want to thank you for taking
Joe, you know that's not true. You know it's not good to be with us again, and they stop you some of that.
There could be other places, but it's always good to be in your company. And you know, I wish the circumstances were a little different, to be quite honest. But
So do we.
yes. But I do appreciate the timeliness and the urgency that the Board of Commissioners is taken. I know that we were originally thinking about having this as part of your meeting on Tuesday, and so I want to acknowledge and thank you for taking such quick action to consider this resolution this evening. You know, we certainly, as we've been talking about on our daily briefings, we have seen an uptick in cases in Franklin County over the last 10 to 14 days that is very troubling. And of course, when you look at other factors that the governor outlined today and making that determination that Franklin County is in what's called a level 3 or red zone, so to speak, we know that there are indicators that are moving in the wrong direction in Franklin County. And at this point, we need to make sure that we're taking every opportunity and using every tool that we have to slow the spread in our community. And certainly Franklin County residents and business owners and our county administration and other elected officials have been doing everything that we can. But at this point, one of the tools that we need to really consider is the requirement of use of face coverings in our community. Franklin County Board of Health last week, no, it was earlier this week actually, it was on Monday, met in special session to pass a similar resolution to encourage our local municipalities to strongly advise that they pass local ordinances or executive orders similar to what you're doing here tonight. I'm very encouraged to say, like Commissioner O'Grady mentioned, I've heard from several municipalities that are looking at doing this, following the lead of the city of Bexley, following now the lead of the city of Columbus. I'm hopeful that more will be reaching out, and we'll be doing some proactive messaging to them as well, and have been doing that this week. I also want to let the Board of Commissioners know that our Board of Health is looking at our legal authority to pass a resolution requiring face coverings in our entire health jurisdiction. This would be our townships, villages, and the 14 cities that we provide public health services to. We think that that would be a much better approach. It would certainly create a comprehensive policy for our community, and we hope that the legal authority is there for us. In the absence of that, it's these kinds of opportunities to encourage those that do have that authority, our local municipalities, to take this policy step to really protect our residents. And so, again, I just want to thank the Board of Commissioners for taking this step and providing that not only that the resolution of support, but as you mentioned, Commissioner O'Grady, making sure that if there's a resource that's needed, whether it's PPE or face coverings, or specifically face coverings, that we don't let that be a barrier. And I know that there have been many initiatives across Franklin County to make face coverings available throughout the community, and we will continue to do that and play whatever role is necessary to facilitate that across our community. So I really appreciate the time this evening. Happy to answer any questions, but thank you so much to the commissioners and county administration for taking on this resolution.
Well, thank you for your diligence in bringing these issues forward with the way this disease has been spreading. And we couldn't let the weekend go without acting. It was clear when we watched the governor this afternoon that we couldn't let time go by. And with your leadership, Joe, we just knew we needed to act in every way we could act. So thank you.
And thank you for that, Commissioner Brown. I was so focused on all the calls and everything else that was going on, and I looked down and looked at my phone and realized that you were pushing for us to get this emergency meeting going, and I appreciate you doing that, because I was lost in what I was doing, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
And before we vote, can someone just explain how it works with terms of our authority versus what the action will actually mean, and then what's the follow-up with the districts that fall under that?
I was going to call on Administrator Wilson to speak anyway, so if Administrator Wilson may want to address that as well. But I was going to call on you to see if you had any words you wanted to add.
Thank you, President O'Grady, Commissioner Boyce, Commissioner Brown. Yeah, I think that as Health Commissioner Mazzola indicated, it would make things easier if the authority expanded the entire jurisdiction of Franklin County Public Health. And of course, that would exclude the city of Columbus, Worthington. So we have the action that City Council of Columbus will consider on Monday that will support the mayor's executive order that went into effect. So I think that that is really where we are right now. One of the key pieces to this is to be comprehensive as it relates to the public safety threat, to include retail stores, restaurants, and other workplaces. Because I think that when I think about Franklin County employees that service the public each day in our agencies, such as Job and Family Services and Child Support Enforcement, Franklin County Board of Elections, there's a lot of contact, and social distancing requirements of 6 feet is constantly challenged. So I am optimistic that we will be able to find a way, working with respective legal counsels, to be able to tighten things up over the course, because time is of the essence. I can't say that loudly enough. We're at level 3 currently, and are close to purple, which would be level 4. So these days are crucial, and we really, in fact, need to pass this resolution and use every bit of influence that we have to exercise every option available to ensure that we decrease the spread. Because we know if we have two individuals in contact and they both have masks on, you're going to get better outcomes. Health Commissioner Joe Mazzola, you may have some more commentary as to what avenues under the Ohio Revised Code you're looking at.
I think we're looking at a couple of different provisions within the revised code. I sort of hesitate to get into the legalities. One, because I'm not a lawyer, and two, just because I don't know if others who represent the health department are on the call. But I think certainly from the Board of Health's perspective, if we do determine we do have that legal authority, our Board of Health will be exercising it. And we will not hesitate to do that. We just don't know. We've been talking to some of our colleagues across the state of Ohio who are also general health districts, and there seems to be some ambiguity there. So we're looking for some clear guidance. We've been talking to the state health department and seeking to see if there's additional references within the revised code that maybe we're not thinking of yet. But we want to make sure that if we do have that authority, that we will be moving forward with it.
Thanks. It's so easy to cross from one jurisdiction to another without even knowing it. So it's gonna require some education. So it would make it easier as this expands and more municipalities take this action. I believe on the call at 4, Upper Arlington is going to act early next week as well.
Yeah. I spoke to Kip Greenhill in Upper Arlington. He says they're going to act on Monday night. They don't have the authority to act unilaterally in Upper Arlington because they have a city manager form of government. So city council is going to act on Monday.
So, President O'Grady, may I ask a question?
Please.
What are we doing to ensure that those who might not be able to afford to buy PPE or buy the mask or whatever, are we going to have any sort of giveaways of masks, or are we providing resources to nonprofits that will help distribute masks? Particularly with the disposable ones, they can only be worn, once or twice, whatever it is. I don't know. I shouldn't say once or twice. I think, Joe, you might say the right answer to that. But the point is what are we doing to make sure that everybody will have access to masks? I know we're doing some nonprofit human services funding. Are we going to require that they purchase, and are they available?
Commissioner Boyce, President O'Grady, Commissioner Brown, we've been working on a few fronts. As you know, we've been providing masks through Franklin County EMA to some nonprofits. We've supported CODA. We've supported the individuals that are with. I'm at a loss here. We've been supporting the National Center for Urban Solutions. We've been also partnering with some of the nonprofit partners, the Columbus Urban League, such as the Columbus Urban League, and made masks available. Next week, we intend to, and we're making arrangements to provide 100,000 disposable masks to Human Services Chamber. And they will be distributing those to organizations that are in need of masks. We also are collaborating and working with the city of Columbus on the mass kindness work, and Can't Stop Columbus, and some work there as well. So we have a number of initiatives underway. We've also been talking with, and plan to collaborate, I believe soon with the OSU Wexner Center and some of the work that they've been doing, passing out the care kits that include masks.
Okay.
And on your agenda next week, Deputy Administrator Smith is working with an extension of the Mask Up that's associated with the African American Wellness Walk. So we're gonna look to. We don't want.
How much you think we'll be?
a barrier.
How much you think we'll make it available for that? Just if you just ballpark.
All these initiatives combined,
Yeah.
easily a couple 100,000 masks, the disposable ones.
Mm-hmm.
And also we've been providing masks to county entities such as Franklin County Children's Services when they've needed assistance, the Board of Elections, and other in the courts when they've needed help. And we stand to be a resource for other local governments that need help in getting their supply chains established.
Good. As I was just scrolling through to see, who all's on the call. We have, in the meeting, we have 50 some people in the meeting again tonight. At the risk of inviting, a lot of conversation. I mean, we have Director Leonard's on the call. We have Director Young on the call. We have a lot of people on the call that I'm sure that we can invite into this conversation. Director Young can be very critical in terms of conversation regarding, distribution and the possibility of potential distribution here. It is July. I'm not certain I'm ready for a full-on briefing on what we're going to be doing for Election Day and how Director Leonard's preparing for Election Day yet. But we will be certainly getting ready for how we're going to be social distancing as it relates to Election Days, especially since the legislature in their infinite wisdom decided not to give us the ability to have multiple early vote locations, which would have made life a lot better for us, for them, and for voters. So there is that. And I hesitate to start the conversation today about where we are with our ability to be able to advertise this election when we have so much more that we need to advertise in this coming election than we have ever maybe had, but, we certainly, but I don't know that tonight is necessarily the time to start that conversation either, although that conversation is coming. So, is there anything else, Commissioners, Administrator Wilson, or Commissioner Mazzola? Is there anything else that we need to discuss tonight before we pass this resolution? All right.
Yeah, President O'Grady, I'd like to discuss the upcoming football season, Pittsburgh Steelers, and how well. Never mind. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought there. So. It's getting late.
Anytime.
It's late.
Anytime, Commissioner. Anytime.
I think everybody can go home if they're not already.
Unfortunately, Commissioner, I don't see any thumbs down emoji reaction through Zoom.
Yeah, I got a thumbs down for him right here. All right, so we've moved and seconded. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Yes, Commissioner. Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 446-20 has been adopted.
Well, I now have my Franklin County masks that are in the laundry being washed. Thank you for the delivery today. But I also have my.
Hey, wait a minute! I haven't got my Franklin County mask. Wait a minute.
That's because you're not anybody's favorite commissioner like I am. So I got mine today. But I also have my Columbus Clippers masks. So I have a slew of masks.
Haven't gotten either.
Yeah, you got to get on the Columbus Clippers website and order some Columbus Clippers masks. It's baseball season. Even
I
though
got
the
all kinds of masks that
Yeah,
go
we
with
got all kinds
all
of-
my clothes.
All right. So
Because
mask up.
No,
Mask up, everybody. Mask up Dublin.
mask
and
up, have a safe weekend.
Mask up Bexley and mask up Columbus and mask up Reynoldsburg and mask up Gahanna and mask up Hilliard and Grove City. Or I see Joe Mazzola nodding his head there. Mask up Canal Winchester. Mask up everybody. Mask up all of Franklin County. Mask up mask up. Just everybody mask up. Good night, everybody. We'll talk to
Good
you
night.
Happy Independence Day. Stay safe.
Everybody be safe, be well.
Thank you, everyone.